Excellent. Well, that was a great segue to our next speaker, Jaan, who is from e-Estonia. So let's please give a great start of Istanbul. Welcome. Yeah, thank you. There you go.
All right. So, great to see so many people here. So, these questions we will address later, but I'm Jaan Heinsoo. I'm head of new markets of e-Residency from Republic of Estonia. So Estonia is the first country that has gone really digital. So the society is fully digital. It's an innovative platform for your international business. So I would urge you to listen to this presentation and later to come to Estonia and to do your business. But I will also tell you how to do your business through Estonia and not even come to Estonia. So this is what this presentation is about. Estonia is a hub for digital business. Physically, we have 1.3 million people. We have an area of 45,000 kilometers, so that's about the same size of Denmark or Holland, but it's mostly covered with forests, so there's not so many people living there. Currency euro, member of EU, NATO, OECD, Digital 5, you name it. So languages. Most of people speak English. Not worse than me. Then everybody speaks Estonian, and also very many people speak Russian. So most of the people speak 3 languages. And contrary to some people's belief, it's more like a Nordic country. It's not an Eastern European country, it's a Nordic country. As you can see on the map, it's between Finland, Sweden, Russia on the other side. So Estonia could be your partner for the EU markets, and that could be the main benefit for you from listening to this presentation. So it's a very business-friendly jurisdiction and taxation. I will show you some rankings later. It's a very low bureaucracy and very high ease of doing business thanks to the digital society. And of course the digital signature that works everywhere in Estonia. It works more and more also globally. So it's Estonia's thing, I will tell you that. So politically it's a very stable and transparent country. So even if there are different coalitions and oppositions, there is still always the same business policies. There is the same direction. And of course, it could serve as an effective bridge to the EU for any Turkish company or wherever you're from. So just a few highlights about the Estonian business environment. So it takes only 20 minutes to establish a company. And that's what you need e-Residency for. Well, I think the record is about 18 minutes that people have actually established the company in. But when you don't know what you're going to call your company or who to nominate as the director, you might take longer. So there is 0% corporate income tax on reinvested profits. So as long as you don't take your dividends from your company yet, so you don't pay your corporate income tax. That makes Estonia actually the most competitive country in terms of taxes according to OECD. I will show you some rankings later. You can manage and control your business 24/7 through this e-Residency card. There is easy access to all EU markets, and you don't have to hire any local members of the board. There is basically also no bureaucracy. So these are the rankings. We're really proud of some of these rankings. First of all, International Tax Competitiveness Index. For years, we have been number one in the OECD according to Tax Foundation. So exactly because of 0% corporate income tax and easy administration of taxes through the e-Residency card or the digital ID card of the Estonian citizen, which is basically the same thing, only the Estonian citizen's ID card has a picture on it. And the e-Residence card, it's not a travel document, it doesn't have a picture on it, so you can only show it to your computer. So Index of Economic Freedom in the EU, we are number 2, number 7 in the world. Corruption Perception Index, globally number 18. So basically in front of us are only these old economies, the heavyweight countries that are the trendsetters and the etalons of low corruption, but we are getting to the top. Entrepreneurial activity in the EU, we are number 1. That's not due to very, very many small shops, corner shops, but that is mostly due to the startups and the innovative behavior of our entrepreneurs. Ease of doing business, number 16. That is the ranking of all rankings. That's the combined ranking of ease of doing business. And of course, Digital Economy and Society Index. In terms of public services, we are number 2 in the EU. GDP, I just wanted to show you that we have a healthy economy. We have a growing GDP. So for the last couple of years, it's been growing 5-4%. So unemployment, 5%, and average salary already not that low. It's 1,300 euros. So the tax system, it is simple and favorable. So due to this tax system, we are ranked as the #1 country in terms of tax competitiveness in the world. So corporate income tax on reinvested profits is 0. But if you take out dividends, that's 20%. If you take it out whenever you want, whatever amount you want. But if you take out stable amounts every year, then from the 3rd year, it's 14%. So 14 to 20% is corporate income tax on distributed profits. Personal income tax 20%, but that means that if you already have paid the dividend tax, you don't pay again. You only pay once. You don't pay before that, that's 0, and you don't have to pay personal income tax again. That's also 0. So you only pay 14 to 20%. VAT 20%, social tax 33. Social tax, that's not so low. That's already quite an average tax number, but we are lobbying to decrease it, especially for the foreigners who come to Estonia. Basically no property tax except for a small land tax. We have the lowest government debt in Europe. So lowest government debt in Europe means no pressure to raise the taxes. And of course the balanced state budget, which means we can sustain the lowest government debt and we don't have to raise the taxes. So, and the most important thing is that it's business friendly. It's always been written in a very simple form. So you can actually read the tax laws, understand them. You don't have to hire any tax consultants and easily administer all your taxes through electronic means. So, and now to the interesting part. eEstonia, the first digital society in the world. So basically, Estonia has redefined the governance and simplified both life and business, everyday life and your everyday business. So basically, this sounds like a joke, but it's not actually a joke. This is true. Only 3 things you cannot do online. This is marriage, divorce, and real estate transactions. So, yet. Yeah? So you have to be really determined. You have to know what you're doing, because otherwise, for example, you can be mad at your spouse and say, okay, now I'm divorcing you. See, I'm taking out my computer, that's it, we're divorced. And then you think, maybe I was like too hasty. Or get married, same thing. You can maybe get a little bit tipsy and then get married, or go play a poker game and sell your house, bet your house, and that's it. So lose it. So these 3 things you have to go to the special authorities still to do. We could do that online, but we're not ready yet emotionally. So what is eEstonia? So eEstonia means 98% of companies are established online. 99% of banking is done online. 95% of tax declarations are filed online. I don't know why 5% wouldn't do it still. And through e-Residency, everybody in the world can actually access all these e-services. So what are the main principles? The main principle, number 1, is like once only principle. It means that when you give your information to one of the databases, you don't have to go to another database to give the same information. The databases communicate to each other seamlessly in seconds, so that they know everything if they need to know it. Transparency by design, also very important, especially with the once only principle. When you provide your information, you can trust that nobody actually misuses this information. Anytime anyone uses your information, anyone in Estonia can actually log on to the system and see all of the log of the information checks that have been done. So if I check that, okay, doctor has seen my information, specific information, not the same information that policemen can see, right? different information. And I recognize, okay, I did go to the doctor and that's it. That's what this check was about. Then police, yeah, I remember they checked me. But if I don't remember this check, if I don't recognize it and I feel suspicious, then I can make an inquiry. If this inquiry is not satisfactory, that's a big problem. So these problems happen very rarely because people know that they cannot just check just like that because they will be responsible for that. So this is transparency by design. The data is actually owned by the citizen or the resident. So Estonians trust these solutions. That's why they trust them. From the beginning, they have actually trusted them, and that's why we have evolved so far. Internet is a social right. Internet is considered a social right in Estonia. Otherwise, you couldn't actually access all the e-services and all of the public services that are digital by default. So 99% of the services are online. They're digital by default. First, they're digital, and then they are made maybe in a traditional way. But by default, they have to be digital. And it all relies on this e-identity, electronic identity that everybody in Estonia has, and they can use it by using the digital ID card. 95% of the population has it, everybody except little children, basically. And it's a compulsory document. You don't have to have a passport, but you do have to have this digital ID card. And since 2007, people have been using a mobile ID as an alternative, and a smart ID. That's a more newer thing that you can use instead of the ID card, so that you don't have to even take it out of your pocket and put it into your card reader. But the story, I don't want to bore you with history, but I will just show you how it evolved because it's important. It didn't just happen. It evolved since the year 2000 and earlier than that. So in the year 2000, there was the e-taxport, electronic taxport. Before that, there was already internet banking. So Estonia was one of the pioneers in terms of internet banking. Of course, mobile parking. We don't even remember how to park any other way. Then 2001 came the population registry. And then people started to think, all right, we made these registries, these databases digital. But we still need them to communicate to each other. How do we do that in order to actually eliminate the bureaucracy and make this once-only principle work? So they made the X-Road. The X-Road is kind of a hub that connects databases that are not made according to the same standards. You can connect any database between each other. You add a security server and you add an adapter server, and then any database can communicate to each other. So I will show you in one of the next slides that there are actually almost 1,000 databases today in Estonia that are connected and that are actually making 500 million transactions per year. Transactions meaning that they exchange information in a small country like Estonia, where there is 1 million people. They make 500 million inquiries in terms of information. So, and after that, of course, all of the other databases started to be made digital and to be connected with this X-Road. And in order to use that, we made this digital signature and digital ID card, the one that I just showed you. Later, of course, electronic land registry. There is iVoting. Internet voting since 2005. So today, about half of the people vote online, vote in national elections for the parliament, for example. They vote online. The other half, I think that they just want to make this day special for themselves, and they may want to make this physical piece of paper and put it in the ballot, because this might be the last time they can actually do it. So the half of the people, including me, I still went and did it the traditional way, because that's the cool way. But half of the people, for example, if you live in the countryside or if you're abroad, if I'm here in Turkey and right now there is an election going on, of course I would use the internet voting. Mobile ID since 2007. So already in 2007 we felt that this ID card, that's yesterday's news. We need to make this more easy. So mobile ID. Electronic police system. Electronic police is actually something that is it has decreased accidents involving passengers' injuries by 40% by 2011. So of course there were other initiatives that actually helped to decrease the injuries, but by 2011, from 2007, the injuries on roads decreased by 40%. That means actually that the police doesn't stop you that much anymore, but they check you. They are everywhere behind you, so they can't check your car. That is not the breach of your personal data. They check if this car is okay, or if it's risky. If it's risky, they eliminate it, and that's how they can actually decrease the fatalities and injuries. After that, keyless signature infrastructure in 2008. So we had a cyber attack in 2007. So we had to make a keyless signature infrastructure. I don't have enough time to explain that, but we can talk about that later. E-prescriptions, for example. You don't have to go to the doctor. You call your doctor, you say you have a sore throat or you have something else. And if they understand that by the phone, they just make this e-prescription, press enter, and voila, you can go downstairs, buy your medicine. Smart grid, electronic vehicle charging network, the whole country is covered. X-Road Europe, we're starting to export X-Road. E-Residency since 2014. This is the most important thing. So in 2009, we opened this possibility that you can establish companies online. And since 2014, also foreigners can establish the companies online. Data embassy. Data embassy is if we have a cyber attack on this very important thing, which is the e-Estonia digital society, then we can run it on a backup. So it's, for example, we have a data embassy in the UK, and if there is, if something has happened to our local databases, we run it from the backup. It's like not a full version, but it's still a running version of the e-government. Now you can basically open a bank account online, but it's not that easy, of course. It's not every bank will accept it. So the busiest highway of eEstonia is the X-Road since 2001. So this is a schematic view of the X-Road. It supports the once only principle. You can see the databases around, and they will communicate to each other through the adapter server and security server. It saves, well, we have calculated that for all of the users of the X-Road, it saves about 840 working years annually. It's exported to Finland, to Ukraine, and other countries. And this is how it actually looks. This is all of the transactions that are made from the databases. And the green dots are databases. This looks like the Estonian map, more or less. And all of these lines are actually the transactions being made. So there are 950 connected organizations and databases right now, and 500 million transactions per year. So actually that makes exactly one transaction per person per day, because you calculate 500 million, you divide by 1.3 million, you divide again by 365, and you get one transaction per person per day. There are more than 3,000 digital services. There are both public and private digital services. So I will not talk about each and every one of them. There are 3,000. But when you're an e-resident, you can access most of them. You can access all of these that are actually available for business. Not for the citizens, not for the locals, but all that are available for the business. So e-residency, what is it? E-residency is a digital identity which provides non-residents a government-issued digital ID card. So Estonia is the first and still the only country that provides the digital ID card to non-residents. It's a status. It is a privilege that Estonia is offering to basically all of you. With the card, you can create a location-independent EU company and access the Estonian e-services and run your business remotely. So it makes Estonia actually the easiest place to start and manage a global business online, entirely online. You can choose also from a variety of service providers that offer solutions for you. So basically it's so easy that you can do it yourself. Most of the e-residents do everything themselves, except you have to have one thing in Estonia. You have to have an address. So there are companies, these service providers, that will give you this address, physical address, because otherwise it might be that you're too hard to find globally. You have to have an address. That's it. Global e-residence community is more than 60,000 people. They have made 7,500 companies up to this date. There are 2,200 Turkish e-residents who have made 550 companies up to this date. And one of these e-residents is Arzu. So Arzu told me that basically she never thought that she could actually open an EU company from Turkey, never leaving Turkey. So Arzu made an EU company. So people in Estonia can benefit from the most advanced digital society, and now people from outside Estonia can also take advantage of this. So basically, all that you can do, you can run your business entirely online. Legally binding way. Community of like-minded people is also very important. There is a community of e-residents also in Turkey. This is the digital nation. So basically, some of these people you might recognize.
Can we encourage people to come to your booth and get more information?
Of course, please do.
Additional programming that we need to get to.
Yeah, this is the last.
Yeah, okay.
Don't worry. So here you can see Angela from Germany, you can see Bill from the US, you can see Shinzo from Japan, and you can see Francis from Vatican. And on the middle you can see Xenia and Ian. All of these people have one thing in common. They're all e-residents of Estonia. So you're very welcome to join them. You're very welcome to join this digital nation. So please, as the moderator encouraged, please come to the booth and talk to me about this. And if I'm not at the booth, just find me and I will be very glad to talk about this.
Thank you, Jaan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.